Peace and blessings, family. Welcome back. We have a lot of problems in our community, problems that are affecting us in many grievous ways. How do we solve these problems? More importantly, what are the causes of many of the problems that we are afflicted with? So tonight I want to talk about something that's important to us that may be a contributing factor in some of the issues we have in our communities. We're going to talk about the elders and the importance of elders in our community. The elders are a segment of the population or the society. They are the holders of wisdom. Elders are the ones who have accumulated many years, and along the way of those many years of living, they've accumulated experiences, and these experiences amount to wisdom, having an understanding of how to solve problems. And of course, by living many years, you have experiences in many aspects of life, and we all travel the same road as the elders. So we eventually will come in contact or have experiences ourselves with some of the trials and tribulations and some of the impediments and some of the obstacles that they had to cross and negotiate through their many long years journey on this planet. So it is important that we discuss the elders and why the elders are important. To understand why the elders are important, we must understand the elders' function and purpose. In many of the ancient societies, elders were the keepers of knowledge. They were the guideposts. They were the guardians of ethics, of morality, of traditions. They oversaw different ceremonies and rituals. They mediated different confrontations and oppositions that occurred with any given group. The elders were always approached for advice and for guidance, and rightly so, because they have lived in many years, as aforementioned, and they've accumulated the experiences. They accumulated or gained the know-how of how to solve the problems that we are faced with. So it is important to understand the role of the elders. And in many traditional African societies, they would have a council of elders. They would have a council of elders for males. They would have a council of elders for women as well. And sometimes they would have a joint council. And understand, when I speak of African culture is not monolithic. It's not the same across the periphery of the continent. It varies from group to group, from language group and setting to another. However, they have common features across the continent. And one of them is respect for the elders. You will find this prevalent across the periphery of the continent among any group from the West Coast to the East Coast, from North to South Africa. Respect for elders is paramount behavior in any and every society. So these societies, the way they functioned and the way they lived, again, people, younger people, they relied on the elders for guidance. For instance, I remember upon one of my trips to Africa, being in Senegal, there was a group of children that surrounded our bus that we were driving. We were on a minivan, and they had surrounded the minivan, and these kids were hitting the minivan with their hands. And I noticed off in the distance an elder with a rod, and this elder may have been 50 or 60 years old, and he passed the rod along to a younger gentleman who had to be in his 30s, and he passed the rod along to someone in their 20s, and they just began swinging the rod, and the children dispersed. It was like dust in the air, and the children were gone. But I saw the power of the elders. When I would see elders, they sitting around a tree, they were always quiet, and they had a silent power that emanated from their being, which commanded respect. So I carry myself here in the States the same way with elders, and I think we all should understand and revere their wisdom and their knowledge. They deserve it, most of all. Furthermore, in contemporary society, we look around and we see the elders being dismissed. We see them being discarded. I'm in a store in the middle of the night and I see elders stocking shelves. This is the life unfit for an elder, living in a capitalist society which commodifies all social spheres of life. Of course, it's not strange to see an elder stocking the shelf in the middle of the night. However, it's appalling. We should understand that when the elders suffer, the entire society suffers. With that, elders don't receive the due respect they deserve, just from having lived all the years that they've lived. They're often shunned. They're not even spoken to. In this society, elders are thrown away. They're put in convalescent homes, or what we would call old folks' homes when we were younger. And these were strange places to me growing up, because in my family, elders weren't thrown away. They weren't put off into a convalescent home. So these people just sit there and they rot away in their last years of life, while outside of those places, we have mayhem in the corridors of the streets, and our families are dysfunction, and we wonder why. Back in the 30s and 40s and 50s, here in America particularly, elders were around. They were in the home. And when you find a home with elders, you always knew the children knew how to behave, because it was the elders who kept the formation of family, who kept the traditions intact. It was the elders who would give the proper guidance to the youth to make sure that that young person grew up with a proper understanding of etiquette, of decorum, of traditions, and how to carry these things out in their behavior. This was the form and function of the elders. But now, today, currently, elders are largely absent in our homes, and we wonder why our children have no respect for us. They don't have the proper dedication to the moral, martial, and mental aspects of life. They don't understand the purpose of living and wanting to live long, to value life, because there is no elders around to usher them along the way, to show them the proper direction or give them the guiding instructions as they journey through this thing called life. I would suggest that we begin to speak with our elders. I would suggest that we begin to learn from our elders. I would suggest that we study some of our elder scholars who have sacrificed time to do the work. I would suggest that we listen to some of the stories of the elders. Understand that they are a very important segment of our families, of our communities, and our societies. The elders are the pillars of our societies. And we all understand that if there are no pillars, there could be no formation, no structure. There could be no ceiling, no covering of roof to protect us from the harshness of the inclement weather of life. So again, I would like to thank you for joining me. I also would like you to consider this talk and how important it is to value the wisdom that live among us. I'll leave you with an African proverb. When an elder dies, a library burns. Thank you.